Yeah, that's great, thank you for that. Really good to know. So then we keep moving, we have, we added these 6 parking spaces for public parking. For access to the park and, also one of these would be ADA accessible.
Yeah. Just so everyone knows, Mark Reynolds is on Zoom, so you have a quorum, okay?
Great. Hey, Mark. So yeah, the parking, which also gives ADA kind of access to moving across Bighorn Trail here into this, the top portion of the park. Which we have this ADA eating area that's outside of the detention pond. And then this is the 2 paver areas, which kind of, we have this gray paver and that kind of permeable material that we were talking about. Just like a small portion of this detention pond, and the rest of it is gonna be this same pea gravel. Which I think is, it kind of really reflects the mountains across the way, so it'd be a good material for that.
So it's a brown tone.
Yes, this
Yeah.
round, yeah, back in here. And then this will also have like another kind of area where you can use some boulders and. And that one right there. And then kind of going closest to the lake, we have kind of 2 areas for seating and lounging. And this is, the lake trail would be right here, so it's basically right along the lake. One of the areas has this cool custom bench that we've been talking about. Here's the plan on board. Yeah, it's the pictures in there somewhere, yeah. And here's kind of more of the specifics. I think it's like a 25-foot long bench that has like 2 sides to it for lounging, and in the middle kind of more of a bench area. I think it's
It's also like food.
right here. Okay. You can kind of see the side and full view of it. It's kind of just like a cool custom bench feature. It'll be kind of with the deck that's on the water there.
Yeah.
The bench part will be facing the water, I think.
Yes, the bench will be facing
Yeah,
the
that's
water.
pretty good, because the prevailing winds will be off the water most of the time.
The frame of it's gonna be built by a metals guy, and then we have working on a partnership with like Trex Decking to do the tops of all of our benches, because it's gonna be public space, so like it generate like the screws or something and put their logo, something like that, but.
Yeah.
And we always get to get participation and stuff, yeah. And, you know, speaking of that, as we're on the topic of benches, I know there was concern about gapping benches and. And this picture is
Yeah.
a very good representation of what we're doing. This, all the metal is gonna have a 3-inch flange on all the corners. I put that, that's this, yeah. So
It's
the,
going to be like horsehair or some kind of a rust.
yeah, there's supposed to be weather.
Yeah, you don't have to paint it.
Yes, yeah,
Good.
it's weather, and here's kind of the drawings for it, but yeah, I think Cindy was talking to me, concerned about this looking and integrating.
Yeah, and instead of with a regular Gabion box, worried about the wire
Right,
coming loose, this is really a lot more stuff.
right, and we're gonna do like.
And it'll be anchored too. So.
Exactly, yeah, we're having them footers for that entryway, and then we have a few kind of along this trail that comes through the park. And one of them is gonna have kind of this couple of having, you know, this informational piece to it, where we add whatever we decide there. Yeah, this is the entry sign that we would. I don't know if we've gone through this a few times.
Yeah.
Professional stuff, but digital.
No, it should be, we're gonna not be digital, but it'll be kind of just like we'll have a graphic designer, work on creating the infographic essentially. We would have, kind of working with the Parks Department on what they want, it's some type of educational experience, yeah. We're trying to like, yeah, we've been working with like the UC students and trying to have like some, consistency and like, some educational portion in the parks. So that's what, those are just placeholders, we're not gonna put the signage until, but you know, it's approved and it's not something that we would
the signs that we put up in Strauss Park in the walkway, the covered walkway there, they were, done locally, I think maybe Evergreen or someplace. And they
Okay,
were reasonably priced, they
oh, that's great. to
like
hear.
$8,000-10,000 for.
I know the sign shop on Evergreen, I've reached out.
I think that may have been who did that, I'm not
Oh,
sure.
that's great to know, yeah.
But Cindy, I don't know, I can get that information as well, but they're on metal backing, and we were able to take, stuff, historical pictures and, you know,
And get-
put it
yeah.
on there, and then it's coated, it's mounted, on a metal frame, and so
Okay.
it should be pretty durable.
Yeah, we would
I'm
just
sure they
actually,
could tell you what,
yeah,
whether the best.
we would just kind of design the place for it, like kind of make sure that's there and then. Whenever kind of, 'cause I know us and the Parks Department and the new park, they're kind of a whole different timeline, so. We can put them in at any time.
Well, it's interesting because it seems like you have the basis for being able to incorporate like artificial intelligence and movement and.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
But just the very fact that you put the design in would allow for a substitute.
Yeah,
Later.
later down.
Whatever timing is a little bit.
Yeah, it is really, but yeah, I mean, we have, especially along this, like this will have electrical,
Right.
Yeah, it could be the only place you could have any kind of utility solutions.
Yes,
other than
yeah,
the
so
buildings.
just, and we just, we kind of value engineered this a bit, and just really couldn't find a good solution for getting. Kind of light at the top, so it's just these front lights, and in this light will give kind of a glow to this Lakeview glass. And that's this light. Here, I think all, which is kind of a dark sky in black, kind of match the lights along the road there.
So that specific like.
Yes, yeah, that's the specific one, and then this is we're gonna use the same color palette as we have in the phase one buildings. And just a little bit of a different, like stacked stone design, just a little bit larger stones, and just to have a little bit of variation from those buildings. So it's a size, and this is the Euro cobbles, what we have spec'd on the new phase two building, so it's kind of in between the two phases.
So these will coordinate with the
Yeah.
stone that's gonna be on the buildings. That
Exactly.
makes sense.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah, we're excited.
And basically, it's a veneer stone over a concrete structure.
Exactly, yeah.
Or masonry structure.
Exactly, and we're excited about these entrances, we just think that the site really needs something to welcome as you drive in, and. This is kind of one of the first things we want to put in Jan's, is getting these built to kind of get a good welcome to the park. And just for the development in general.
So if everything is approved and everybody's happy, when would you be starting on this?
Probably in 2 weeks, we would start, down on the parks, We would first move all our staging sites to another area on the site, and then we would start working on the extension ponds and medias here. But our goal is kind of like as we're, we're not gonna really start on the phase two buildings until the fall, obviously, once everything's approved. So this park allows the Bridge My crew to stay on site, we can kind of work through the summer, let sales catch up a little bit, and. Just create more welcoming and clean.
Yeah.
Site area.
Actually, not bad marketing either.
Yeah, no, I think it's gonna help everyone involved. So,
Promised I'd bring you, this is the
oh,
bear-proof trash cans.
okay, great.
Um,
And this is the Barco products that we've been using, yeah.
so that's available from them,
Yeah, the same one, perfect.
I believe the ones in town actually came from the Colorado Department of Corrections. They have a metal shop. I tried to find something online and it shows up as being there, but they didn't have any details that basically gave you someone to contact. But I mean, this is the same thing.
Okay, perfect.
So maybe
Yeah,
they-
we'll kind of make sure we coordinate close to the Parks Department on the amount of trash cans, just to make sure for that size of park.
And those are heavy duty, they weigh about 200 pounds a piece, so you can bolt them, and you can bolt them down, which.
Yeah, we need everything, all furniture, everything that's been endorsed on this plan,
God.
has the ability to be bolted down, I do wanna say that. Yeah, so then. Pretty much everything all the different materials. Yeah, and then along the lake, we have that big bench, and then we have that same company, the Barco board, kind of chairs. I wanted to do Adirondack chairs, but I couldn't find any that had this lateral, support right. Get it into the cement, so we're gonna kind of strap them down and then use kind of concrete coffee tables that,
Yeah. The short stuff.
then all these tables are kind of.
Yeah, you might wanna look into, and I can help you.
Yeah.
Instead of concrete, something cast, just do a quick price comparison with, stone.
Yeah, definitely, we could, yeah, we could even use the same stone. We'll do
I'll
the color.
send you
Yeah.
the information online.
Right, yeah,
You have it, and,
yeah, we go in like maybe use like a big boulder or something and.
I mean,
flat.
yeah, cause that's, basically, we just had those stones cut, so
They could,
they
yeah,
make nice seating areas and stuff.
that's a great idea, yeah, looks like that.
All natural.
Yeah, well, I think we definitely prefer having the stone, the concrete. Any kind of questions about? Essentially, what we're looking for is a COA on the parks, so we can start going to work. And we kind of been working hard with meeting with all the different, getting feedback from everyone and the community, just to make sure that, what we're putting in, the goal is for us to build everything out to completion, come up with a management agreement with the Parks Department where HOA is funding management and maintenance of the parks. And then eventually donating the land to become public space.
Yeah.
So, and that would be kind of what this kind of is showing. This park area, we're gonna look at in a 2026 item. I think there's been we said amphitheater and we're letting that settle. We're not trying to create like an event stage anymore, but kind of coming up with. We think what we're gonna do is see how these do and get the feedback, and then whatever's missing or whatever our desires are, we have this space next year that we can kind of wrap up the project with. And have any like missing elements in there, so.
Great. Yeah.
Do we? Hey, did you put all the sightings together for this? I'm happy with going with those sightings. And then add stipulate, or, I guess stipulations that, we would like to go ahead and consider, artificial turf as you enter the park.
Yep.
And,
What that is a stipulation, is that what you're saying?
yeah. And the change to, the Georgetown style airproof trash cans. And consider, the stone coffee table in lieu of concrete. Or it could even be wood or the gabion type of thing.
Yeah, something.
Something that's not.
To avoid the concrete.
Yeah.
I understand.
And any from past, any concrete used to be the Davis Brown color.
Right. Definitely, and then we removed kind of all the concrete walkways as requested, and then.
Yeah.
We're gonna use on the main path going through the brush and vines, just using like a metal edge to it. That keeps it contained, and then have the larger rock mulch on the side. So I think it should give it a nice clean look. As a path, so it doesn't kind of have different hardscape materials mixing together.
I think somewhere in the notes, we should indicate that, the plan is to provide landscape maintenance through the COA for up to, until the vegetation is established.
Mhm.
Potentially 4 years. Anybody else got any, you got any input?
No, I think it's very exciting.
Thank you, it's been fun working on this, with you all, I think in the past, we try to get through this so quickly, but it's been nice hearing everyone's thoughts.
I really appreciate you and Peter being present down there and paying attention to the.
Yeah,
It,
absolutely.
it makes a difference, so.
Yeah, and we're excited and we're excited, yeah, to bring the phase two building back to you guys here next month and. Talk through that and.
Get your CO, your occupancy permit for the two.
We have everything, we should get it, we should have our final building tomorrow and then it's in Cage's.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but we did the state approval and got that on Wednesday. Had these blower tests done today and then tomorrow, when I come back and have the final buildings. Which we kind of already have preliminary reviewed, so.
Yeah, I copied this team in Cajo and you on the things that are still, which are basically landscape and touch-up painting and stuff like that.
It's great, I have now.
You've got a list of.
Yeah. And I have someone that works on my staff who's a painter now, so which is great, so he's been slowly going back through all the buildings and doing touch up nails, things like that. On the buildings, and we'll continue to do that over the next month.
Yeah, one of the aspects of the culture of this particular committee is the desire to work with people who present projects to us. And there are enough people with a lot of expertise on the committee to have this kind of exchange.
That's great.
And so, sometimes in the past, you were giving a presentation and people started making suggestions to you or whatever. I don't do use, it's but
Did they decide what kind of screening around those?
Yeah, we talked about, we talked about putting, they're gonna do a cedar
Yes,
4x4 or 6x6
4x4 posts,
posts,
yeah,
cedar rails, and then vertical cedar
Tickets.
pickets.
oh yeah, well, we're gonna do it horizontal pickets, to match, kind of, because their trash enclosure has the cedar wood too, so we were kind of thinking it would look nice to match the same direction, but we could do.
When you get enough airflow where you can, the whole pump's open, so.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't see a problem, we just. If you go horizontal, don't do what was done at the apartments.
Both sides, yeah, so we.
Well, yeah, but both sides be great, but the apartments, I mean, there's one horizontal board here, there's another horizontal board there. And it doesn't provide much screen.
You know, we're gonna start working on those next week, so before even you have, we're there first.
I'm gonna,
I can have.
keep an eye on
review it, yeah, and then, each one is a little bit different based on grading, so that's why we're just doing it custom, our own teams, and put them in and do it that way, yeah.
Now, when we were doing our vertical, we were doing about an inch and a half
Spaces.
space
Yeah.
on both sides.
Okay,
Stagger.
staggered, yeah, okay, perfect, yeah.
Yeah,
we were
we
just
don't want you to see
the-
through it.
The horizontal ones on both sides, yeah, that one.
Yeah, you can stagger them, something.
Yeah, because we have a lot of vertical lines to build already.
Yeah, that's true.
The vertical, you can, on an angle.
Yeah, you can see through
Very-
it. No, I mean, that's fine, and I'll keep an eye on that anyway.
Perfect, yeah, no, I think especially with our railings being vertical slabs, I think it'd be nice to have a variation of lines on the sides of the buildings and then. Our trash enclosure went in, so we're just getting the slats for that over next week, so that'll have the cedar horizontal slats to kind of match what we're doing.
And then they're planning to do a chip seal type paving for the parking lot.
Okay, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, so that,
Yeah, so they just come through, we put millings down for that reason, so they come through and they compact it, and then they put. The tar base, and then they come in after that, and do the chip seal on top of that. So I'm excited for that, yeah.
yeah, that,
I think it'll.
I would dress it up out there.
Yeah,
I would dress it up out there.
yeah, for sure.
it'll make that parking lot a little bit more usable, so.
Well, do we have a motion to approve the application for the two, for the linear park? With the sightings?
I'll make a motion to approve. With stipulations. And sightings listed or stated.
I'll second.
Good job. All in favor?
I.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Any opposed? Oh, Passed unanimously.
And this, the phase two area, is that something you guys wanna approve later? Ideally, you wanna work on this golf cart sooner
Yeah, why don't we just put that in?
with the phase two,
in the-
yeah.
With this. No,
I don't have a problem going ahead and adding that as
seven. Something.
The shop,
or
they
a
include
separate
the
line,
dog
item, a
parking.
separate line, yeah,
Yeah,
the dog park area down by the south end.
South
The
end.
development,
Okay.
southeast end. Oh, you have big trouble, Shannon.
The bosses.
thank you all very much, we're really excited to start working on this.
Yeah, really appreciate you joining us.
Any project for us.
Yeah,
Were things pretty well received by the folks who showed up?
yeah, we had, not one negative comment.
Oh, that's good.
Let's bring some
I
work.
think that might be a first.
Yeah. Yeah, I think,
The unfunded projects, you know.
Yeah,
yeah, that portion, and I think, you know, we had some people write comment cards about. Like having this, about the stage area that someone was like, I wanna renew my vows there. Else talked a little bit about, you know, the landscaping that we're trying to establish in phase one, but yeah, it's,
that's what you hope happens with space like this. that-
yeah. People get excited about it.
Right?
And that's a little late, can we real quick approve the agenda?
Oh, yeah. I move that we approve the agenda.
I second it.
Thank you.
Mark, do you approve the agenda?
What's that?
Do you approve the agenda?
Yes, yes.
Great, thank you.
Do we want to, go back to the first agenda item, which,
Thank you so much.
now we've got the forum?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, I was late.
Yeah, you're okay.
Wait, sorry, our first agenda item, this is Beth Sample, application. She probably tried to get on Zoom, she's remote right now. But she made the change requested. Cindy did mention that she wanted some more details on the historic features of the property in the property description section, so if we want to approve it, if that's stipulation, and we add that, that's fine, we can add that, so.
More details about
The architecture, just the details that are in the survey that was done on that property, we're gonna put that in the property description as part of that application, so. And I intended to print that, but the power went out, and my whole day went out, and then it stuff. We got to go to Hamlin House, so that was lovely.
I would move that we approve the tax credit application, that reflects the changes that we requested, back in March, with the stipulation that additional detail consistent with the, property survey that was done for the historic designation be added to the application.
I'll second it.
All those in favor? Opposed? The application is approved with the stipulation to add the additional historical detail. Leonard, you want us to get it, brother?
Thanks for the. When audience business,
Yeah.
everything out.
Yeah, we're doing, well, we kind of got off to a crazy start because we didn't have a forum, but then we got a quorum, so we're kind of back in.
I apologize for being late. Traffic.
We were,
I was about 20 minutes late, so
right?
they were early, sure. The meeting doesn't start till you.
Leonard, you wanna introduce yourself and tell us what you got in mind?
Yeah, my name's Leonard Dietz, well, it's fine. Trying to get approval to put a house, another building on an empty lot I had behind, 918, Taos. So I want, instead of getting all excited, I want to bring some pictures, some plans to get an input from you to see what you think. I've probably looked at 1,000 different ones, so things are kind of a blur. But I thought I'd bring, this one I like, maybe because of the color kind of pops. But I have two different ways I can go. I can put something like this on the property and subdivide it, so this will fit on the lot. And then I have another one, it's kind of, they call it a carriage house. And the carriage house would fit on the existing lot without subdividing. So that's kind of what my.
You're just gonna need to pay attention to, you know, the lot size and setbacks.
Right. Yeah, because, this one, if I subdivide, then there's enough square footage.
The land use, Leonard and I are working out, so don't worry,
Okay.
we're on top of that.
So I mean, once you have a footprint,
He really wants to get from you guys a consultation on the design of different house proposals. The footprint he can adjust based on what he decides to do with his lots, and we'll work out that part. What he wants to know is if you guys are happy with any of the designs of the different structures that.
We have allowed tapered columns like that?
I don't know, you have to review that, but I mean, that's a detail that
Yeah.
could be,
Well,
the general. I mean, I think the general.
The only thing I
The
saw-
general idea, it's got multiple street lines, gable front faces the street. Front doors faces the street, I mean, I think the proportions and.
Yeah.
I mean, all that would fit, it's a, you know, 2-story, but look at the height, but I mean, I don't, not the top, I don't see a big issue. The garage in the front, but. I mean, we've gone down that road a number of times, in a lot of places you don't have a choice. Can't really put it on the side, just because of the 50-foot wide lots.
yeah,
You
lots,
can move the front door forward.
Yeah, you could break the
It
front.
looks like the garage is sitting in front of everything, so good.
Yeah, or the same plane maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
But I mean,
That-
those are tweaks that we can get into once you get further down the line, as far as the general idea of.
Yeah, so the front door is set back.
Yeah.
You just need to move the front door
if you were
forward.
close to the porch space, it would be like a,
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
there's a lot of things you could do to,
Like an airlock almost.
Yeah.
So. And then the other one I had, if I just use the lot that's there, they call it a carriage house. And I couldn't put it in sideways to put the,
so your entrance would be like over here.
yeah,
So
that was, I'm just looking at all,
this might be facing the street,
yeah,
and then, yeah, you could come into, yeah, I mean, I would, again, I think. This is in line with what we would be looking for, particularly rotating it so that, you know.
yeah, you see the garage
it
doors.
is- Yeah, we wanna drive by and ideally not see.
Would you be
wall to
sharing the
wall.
driveway?
Pardon?
Would you be sharing the driveway with the next door neighbor? Or with?
No,
with
no,
your-
it's the property that I own.
Yeah, but then,
And I may have actually subdivided that, and in that way, it'll be that my issue with this one, because I'm old. It's less driveway to clean the snow off of here if I had that one. You know, I mean, that's what it's all about, I get.
Well, you could put it in a heated driveway.
Well, and I'm telling that, no, I tell you what, the snow is getting heavier as I get older, I don't know how that works. Just to warn you younger people.
I think you're on the right track.
Yeah.
I like both of these are, the, you know, the scale is good. The broken up roof lines and, I think they're both quite workable approaches, so.
it is minor tweaks. It looks.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good to me.
So as you get further down and decide what you wanna do, I mean, you're always welcome to come back and,
Oh, yeah.
you know, before you even apply for, a COA, you just come back and. Yeah, I mean, we do that all the time.
Okay, I appreciate it, but it
We're
becomes,
here twice a month, so.
thank you, but it becomes overwhelming when you get on the internet Cause there's too much,
Yeah,
there's just too much you can get
I went
lost.
through this process, so I know
So,
exactly.
I'm glad at least I got two of them that make it somewhat easy. So thank you for your assistance.
Well, thank you for coming in.
House and carriage house or just either or?
Well, I mean, the two,
I got you. Thank you.
yeah, the two samples that he presented are both in line with what we would be happy with.
Here's the thing you asked me, right?
Oh, good, that'll be really quick, because you don't need to do anything on it.
Oh, great.
I got an email from Cindy about an hour before this meeting. You guys can all have a copy of this. This is something that Cindy put together as a resolution for establishing a procedure with town where we can go ahead and add things to a local town historic register. And in talking with Jerry Dahl, he says that we will need to do it via a ordinance. An ordinance.
That's what I read.
Yeah,
Oh.
so he's working on that, so we'll see the draft of that probably sometime the next meeting or the meeting after that. So this is just for information. I wouldn't expect that the text is gonna change a whole lot, but the way it's put into an ordinance versus a resolution. So, cross that one off.
Okay, these are minutes. Just have an email copy of them, but I think, yeah, she gets them in the filing, so.
Oh, everybody can see. Yeah, comments or changes to the meeting minutes other than May 8th?
No. I don't see anything.
I don't wanna make that motion.
I motion that we accept the meeting minutes as is.
Same things were presented,
May 8th,
May.
May,
do we have a second?
I was in there, so.
You went there.
oh, I'll second it.
All those in favor?
I.
I
Opposed?
Hey.
That's right.
Any staff updates, vision?
Like, I can't.
Virtual multi-family still on the
Yeah.
back burner?
They just kind of slide on that one. Creighton will be in next meeting with,
With the buildings?
with the actual buildings, probably, but part of that application that I have not made, but is invented in my head, is that Kelly and Ryan both have to give me the sign off before you can get in here. you know, Kelly said that should be fine, he's not too, he has like one hydrant he wants him to move, which isn't a big deal. Ryan is working on the utility plan with our engineers to get that approved before you guys see it. The other thing that Ryan wants to make sure they have settled before they come to you is that they have the water rights secured for that property, so we'll see if all of that gets approved before June 12th, but that's when Creighton wants to come in, so we'll see. That stuff often takes a lot longer than we want it to, so. Borough Days on Saturday, that's exciting. Pancake breakfast tomorrow morning,
Oh, yeah, what time?
6 o'clock.
I think it's at 9, 8 or 9. I'm gonna miss that.
I saw Penny's I think at 9.
9, breakfast at 9,
I think it's at 9.
and is it over in the community center?
Strauss Park Community Center, yeah,
Oh,
Friday, 5:30 at the farm.
yeah,
It's outside.
yeah.
it's outside, beautiful.
But we now have heat in the booths, so you can turn the heat on. It won't be that hot.
Sure. I mean, it was beautiful today,
Yeah, but it's cold in the morning.
true,
Right,
Yes.
that's tomorrow morning.
tomorrow morning, yeah.
Loaded big 30s.
Hmm?
Loaded old 30s in the morning.
First
Yeah.
30.
Yeah, I mean, it's usually, yeah, the pancakes, you know, they're almost frozen by the time they get from the griddle to the plate.
You gotta get the butter on them really quickly,
Yeah.
so, yes.
Okay.
But it's a good time.
Yeah,
Is there anything, are they requesting donations of any time for?
I don't think so.
Okay,
No, I don't think so, but I mean, I'm sure there'll be a candidate that will,
okay.
everybody's always
There's always somebody.
someone that will collect. Oh, actually, I think it's like $5, isn't it?
I didn't go last year.
I don't remember, like,
It doesn't have a fee on the flyer,
Yeah,
Okay.
I just.
so I don't think, I think everyone gets to come. It's supposed to be like a town
Yeah,
party, so pancakes aren't exactly expensive.
yeah, pancakes and juice and sausages. and-
Still, you know,
Yeah.
sometimes we just pay for stuff.
It's $100.
But I don't know, maybe it's $5. Maybe I missed that.
Since I had to pay last year. I did.
There's some kids.
I gave it-
front, like,
I gave it to the Christmas party, didn't get that.
pulling a little rascal on you. Yeah.
But that was these days.
No, he's having a party at this building on Borough Days, so.
I just,
I'm not gonna be officially open for Borough Day, but if somebody wants to take a look inside, they're welcome to take a walk in.
items to track, Excel update, we're still, the hydro feed is still moving forward, slowly on that, but not really an update, much update from last time. We had the update on Big Horn. But,
The park meeting did go really well. The community meeting,
Oh.
Park 3. There were a lot of people that showed up. Turns out when you buy them dinner, they really come out for it, so,
that's the secret.
That was a lot of fun.
yeah. It was.
Yeah, we talked about we talked about the local register, we talked about the mini grant last time. I don't think anything's really changed. I did do a review of 2 more of the buildings down at Big Horn, otherwise known as Lakewood Flats. And other than
Lakeview Flats.
a few landscaping type things and touch-up painting and that kind of stuff, they look good. I mean, and they're all the same, so.
I did tell Creighton that his final CO, I intend to be very strict about everything being done, you know,
We still have leverage.
yes.
And we'll have leverage for another couple of years.
We're gonna make him do everything before this next one, so. All his bills have to be paid, which, you know, we gotta work on that. And all of his street things have to be done and all of his, screening and paint and everything's gotta be buttoned up real tight before we issue that final CO. We've been very flexible with him on a couple of things, so, And he's been very cooperative. I know it's hard to get all that stuff, so.
Yeah, the weather's good now, so the, you know, the excuse of, I'm not gonna put plants in the winter is gone.
Right, or, oh, we can't put the stop sign in because the ground's frozen. Well, it's not frozen anymore, so, but he's doing it, again, he's actually being very cooperative, I don't wanna.
Now,
Yeah, and the list I put is pretty comprehensive, those are the things that we can punch list,
Okay.
make sure he gets done.
he actually physically putting the plants in.
He,
Yeah, they-
and the
they-
needs, he's
Yeah,
gonna,
he's got a.
I don't know.
No, he's got a crew.
he has
that does that,
landscapers, yeah,
And he's working with, you know, landscape architect and nursery, so he's doing the right things to get the right plants and,
he talked to you guys about the trees.
yeah,
Okay.
pine trees and aspens. Primarily.
Mhm. Yeah, evergreens and aspens, because those nurseries were like, these.
Yeah, they're,
Cottonwoods are too brittle for as much wind exposure as we're gonna get down there, so, which,
yeah, it really, I mean, I walked around the corner from the building from the shelter side, and then I almost got blown down the street. I
yeah,
mean, it's unbelievably windy down
It
there.
is
You don't
crazy.
realize it until you start walking around.
yeah, I was nervous after the parks meeting, I was helping Beth carry the big piece of the cardboard outside, and I was like, oh god, I'm gonna get blown, just learn how to sail.
Where's the area again?
Yeah,
I had to be very mindful when I'm moving canvases to
yeah.
check to see, cause like I've come out on the sidewalk and I've been blown down.
Believe it, believe
I
it.
had that canvas fly out of my hand one day.
It's all yours.
It's been horrible.
We really need to get some wind energy going on that side of the valley.
Talk to Mr. Starrett.
No, thank
He's
you.
been down there. You wanna
Yeah, I
put a
believe
wind,
it.
oh, you wanna put a wind farm on the bridge?
John Kane in Idaho Springs did a presentation at a Dr. Cog meeting that I went to on all of the different kinds of energy that they produce in Idaho Springs. It's crazy. They have like literally every kind of energy. in Idaho Springs. John Kane, he's not there anymore, Betsy. He's the town manager of Netherlands now. He was the assistant, he was the deputy, the assistant manager in Idaho Springs before. But the presentation was very cool, you know, they're doing thermal heat in Idaho Springs and they have a nuclear power facility, like a small one that they were working on, and wind and water and everything except oil, I think, so,
Okay,
yeah. Solar. They actually have sun in Idaho Springs.
yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting with the energy museum to be able to project those kinds of things that are happening in this area.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. You know, the city, you could probably talk to Andy Marsh about that. I'm sure he'll have an idea about what that's.
And Andy Marsh is in, Idaho Spring,
Yes,
okay.
and he's the town manager down there.
Oh, okay.
The new assistant is named Guy Patterson. He's very capable as well. I don't know how up to date he is on that kind of stuff, because he hasn't been there super long. I don't know if it's a project for them to
Yeah.
on, so.
Because what we don't wanna do with the energy museum is both focus just on historical past. We also wanna present and have a section of the museum that's devoted to here are the amazing changes that are taking place today
Mhm.
in energy,
Yeah,
which I'm being absolutely
one
dramatic.
of our new power sources is actually just Bridget downstairs. She walks and powers the building, so.
She walks 20 miles a day, doesn't she?
I think she walks about 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What is she walking on?
a treadmill.
That's cool.
She's there typing away and walking out of treadmill.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Do we have anything else?
No,
Anybody, so we want to make a motion that we adjourn?
I would make a motion that we adjourn.
I will second.
All in favor?
We're all in favor. You
Aye.
got the- Susan?
Good night, everybody.
I'm in.
Thanks.
Good night.
Bye, thanks.
I was trying to match you, Betsy.
I guess.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Lisa.
I'm sorry, well, how come you probably have the battery and I did it?
This is my laptop. I brought it up. I didn't have a phone.
Oh, okay. Okay, so what?
Isn't it?
Yeah, bring it on.